सद्ध्यासमिद्धान्वितं पापत्यापनिकिन्तनं तनलितां
Hare Krishna. Glories to Srila Prabhupada, and all glories to the Hare Krishna Society and the Prabhupada Disciples Association, representing Srila Prabhupada as the bona fide Acharya, Guru, and teacher by example of Krishna consciousness for everyone. If you look at the Bhagavad Gita, today we're having a reading and discussion on the Bhagavad Gita. Now, here it's very clear, as it is, Bhagavad Gita as it is. That means that the purport of this Bhagavad Gita identifies who Krishna is and who we are without confusion. There are lots of different versions of the Bhagavad Gita. Prabhupada mentions in his introduction over 700 different editions. I'm sure there's many more now. And they do not identify the real meaning of Gita, which is that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and we are meant to surrender to him as his servants and devotees. As it is. So this term, as it is, was given by Prabhupada to identify the Gita as such, as it is. Now, Prabhupada further explains, what is the value of something when it's changed? When you have something that's established as it is, and then it's changed to as it's becoming, as it's evolving. Just like in the case of the sannyasi Devamrita, so-called sannyasi from New Vrindavan and the Keith Ham cult. He termed the phrase post-Prabhupada books. Post-Prabhupada books. What does that mean? Changed books. So from as it is to as it is has become. And therefore they changed a very significant verse in the Bhagavad Gita from approach the spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, render service unto him, and he will impart knowledge unto you because they have seen the truth. Now, someone could say, well, that's just one word. Is it as it is or as it has become? It is as it has become. This change of books, even one word, is very significant. And Prabhupada was very, very emphatic, not only to me, but to Yashoda and a lot of other devotees that he dealt with. Do not change anything. But this change disease, especially in the Western world, by the so-called leaders of this mission that he established, is a permanent disease that has infected that movement. Yes, it is like cancer. A cancer. I personally have had cancer. I know that Yashoda has cancer or had cancer as well. We both had cancer. I had 5 operations to remove the cancer. And Yashoda, similarly, many operations to remove the cancer. And by the grace of Krishna and the medical system, we were both cured of this cancer. So this cancer of change is in the ISKCON movement. People think, oh, we can revive the ISKCON movement. Well, as long as there's the change disease and the misunderstanding of that post-Prabhupada book syndrome, this cancer will not go away, and the boat has left the harbor. If you associate with these people, Prabhus, if you become affiliated with them, you'll be infected with cancer yourself. Don't think it won't happen. We deal with thousands of people online and through our mission, and we see it constantly. This disease is spreading, just like if you're with someone with COVID. Dharma Bhavana, if you go with somebody with COVID, what will happen? You'll get COVID. If you go with people with the ISKCON group, you'll be infected by them, and that will be the change disease, and that will be your ruination. Someone could say, well, how can you be so sure? Experience is the greatest teacher that you can have. You practice what you preach, and then you find out, oh yes, this is the way it is. We do not advocate any change to Prabhupada's books, and it is amazing, everyone, how much Prabhupada is available for us by the mercy of the internet and modern technology. Just recently, I mentioned to Yashodanandana Prabhu, I was listening to a Bhagavad Gita class, Dharma Bhavana, in 1966 in February. Now, that's where we're reading in our diaries. Prabhupada was recording himself with 1 or 2 or 3 people there. He was recording himself for future generations so everyone could get the message of Bhagavad Gita as it is and spoken personally by Srila Prabhupada in his Vani incarnation. Yes, Prabhupada is still living in sound vibration, and he is available to everyone by the grace of his transcendental potency and his mission. So I recommend that everybody continue to study Prabhupada's books carefully, all the original editions, and at the same time, listen to his lectures on a daily basis, chant your rounds, follow the regulated principles, and be happy in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And don't worry about so-called association with infected people from the ISKCON group and their bogus guru system. That is bogus. It is hardcore deviation that will not go away because of profit, adoration, and distinction that have infected that society with these so-called leaders who are simply concocting, manufacturing, and destroying what was a great movement by their mental speculation and their desire for power. Complete nonsense. And so, enough of that. And we'll move forward with the reading of the diary of Srila Prabhupada, a very interesting section we're at, and gives us an insight into how he was working diligently to spread the movement, despite no help from the Gaudiya Math, no help from anyone from India, no help from the governments. Constant problems, as we'll read at the end of this section, but nonetheless never gave up in his effort to please his spiritual master and to please Lord Chaitanya. And guess what? He succeeded in an amazing, amazing fashion in only 11 years. 11 years. From September 19th, 1965 to November 14th, 1977. And look at the volume of work and success that he achieved. And people are thinking, oh, now I'll become Acharya Dev. I'll become Bhakti Pod. I'll become Bhagavat Pod. Few ridiculous people that have tried to usurp Prabhupada's mission because of their own particular desires for material success, the guru business. All India Commerce Committee, Jantar Mantar Road, New Delhi, January 31st, 1966. So he sent a letter to Surya Kumar Joshi and requesting help. And so here is a very interesting look at it from a person in India that sees Prabhupada in his endeavor and is writing to him about this mission that he's on. Param Pujya Swamiji, you may not believe it, day before yesterday, while going to the office, I felt like chanting Tarak Brahma Nam Hare Krishna, etc. And the association of this mantra will, with you, set me thinking about you. I began worrying about you, and I may confess ominous thoughts entered my mind. I know you have a frail body, and there is no one near to give you nourishing diet. With such a train of thought, I reached office, and what a wonderful surprise to find your letter on my desk. Excitement ran high as I read your letter, and only after a lapse of some time I began thinking with a cool mind of the great responsibility that you have entrusted me. Needless to say, nothing could be nobler or greater or better in the service of the cause that you cherish than the idea of building a Radha Krishna temple in New York. I've been possessed by the idea, and I consider it indeed a great privilege to be of any use to you in this noble cause. 1, I suggest that you should write to your friends in India who are willing to donate the necessary sum, that I would be seeing them in this connection, requesting them. Maybe they can suggest ways and means whereby the necessary amount could be available to you at New York. Maybe they have funds in foreign banks which they could transfer to you. I think that if you are as keen as we are to build a truly representative Hindu temple in America, they would be a better position to tell us how to go about this task. On receipt of copies of your letter to your wealthy friends, I will try to connect them. 2, you should address letters to Srimati Indira Gandhi, Prime Minister, Home Minister Sri Guzar Lal Nanda, and Minister for Foreign Trades Sri Manu Bhai Shah, stressing on the cultural aspect of the project that you wish to undertake, and please send copies of these letters to me to enable me to see them personally in this matter. They may like to know the names of the persons who wish to donate the money. Maybe they would also want declaration of these persons of their desire to contribute money towards this end. Here he goes again. Building a Hindu temple in America, it's a Gaudiya Vaishnava temple, is a cause I'm not in which not only Hindus living in India but throughout the world should be made to take due interest. Maybe a trip to the West Indies and Canada, wherever Hindus live in large numbers, would be necessary. You should at least try to procure a list of all the Hindus living in the USA and Canada from our embassies, and thus begin correspondence with them. Somebody's tired. It is a big task, and to begin with, you need someone to hear you to execute your plans vigorously. I'm willing to come and join you for consultation and further action. With all of my failings, I cannot claim to be a devoted servant of Lord Kṛṣṇa. So far as building a temple is concerned, I am for it with all my heart and soul. Therefore, if you think I may be of some use to you in America, please do the needful to call me there. Why not I come to America with 2 beautiful life-size images of Radha and Kṛṣṇa, and I'm sure once the holy images come under your care, they would themselves arrange for a suitable roof over their heads, Many ideas keep on pressing me, and I'm anxiously await your guidance in this matter. Respectfully, Surya Kumar Joshi. I think you should also address a letter to the Maharaj of Nepal, who may be very useful in this project. So lots of ideas from this fellow. Doesn't seem that it went very far, but anyway, interesting insight on how people perceived him back then in 1966. We're going to move forward. I wanted to read two more sections from the diary. On Saturday, 19th of February, Mr. Banerjee invited to come here tomorrow evening. Expenditure of butter was 40 cents. In the evening, Mr. Paul Murray and Mrs. LeBlanc came, attended meeting from 6 to 8:30 p.m. This Paul Murray was a lunatic. Mrs. LeBlanc was a supporter. Today, Mr. Banerjee did not come. Cohen and Salak came. Introduction to Gita Upanishad, recorded 2 sides, 3 hours, no expenditure. This later became the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita. So he was using his tape recorder back there to record his own classes and work. So like I said, you can go back and hear these recordings and appreciate Prabhupada directly in the presentation that he made. Now, Monday, February 21st, today's meetings was attended by greater number of members than other days. They liked the introduction record very much. Some of them brought fruits for me, and Mrs. LeBlanc paid $3. No letter received, no expenditure made. Here, this is the interesting note. A great inconvenience was caused today by oozing out of dirty water from the sink. It spoiled all the mattresses on the floor. The superintendent was informed that he could not help. He said he would report the matter in the office. Just see the difficulty Prabhupada was undergoing personally to spread Krishna consciousness back on February 21st, 1966 in New York City. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to his unflinching service to the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. Let's move forward with the kirtan, and then a class from Twain Hart with Yashodanandana Prabhu. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Sai. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Radha सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय, अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय, रामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गौ गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय, वृंदावन धाम की जय, नवद्वीप धाम की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय, गंगा माई की जय, जमुना माई की जय, तुलसी देवी की जय, भक्ति देवी की जय, स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the Assembly Lord. All glories to the Assembly. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Kṛṣṇa, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskrityam. Narayanam namaskrityam. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. Tato Jayam Mudirayat. One should utter the means of conquest, Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, after offering respectful obeisances, 1 to the personality of Godhead Narayana, 2 to the Nara Narayana Rishi, who is the supremmost human being, 3, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning. Then 4, to Srila Vyasadeva, the author, from Srimad Bhagavatam 1 to 4. Welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Srimad Bhagavad Gita. As we do every week, we will recite various verses from the introduction to the Bhagavad Gita as given by Srila Prabhupada. These respectful obeisances are found in the introduction on page number 1. Om Ajnanatimmirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Sri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Svapadantikam. When will Srila Rupa Goswami Prabhupada, who has established within this material world the mission to fulfill the desire of Lord Chaitanya, give me shelter under his lotus feet? Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Anvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Kṛṣṇa Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakanvitamscha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of my spiritual master and unto the feet of all Vaishnavas. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the lotus feet of Srila Rupa Goswami, along with his elder brother Sanatan Goswami, as well as Raghunath Das and Raghunath Bhatta, Gopal Bhatta and Srila Jiva Goswami. I offer my respectful obeisances to Lord Krishna Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, along with Advaita Acharya, Gadadhar, Srivas, and other associates. I offer my respectful obeisances to Srimati Radharani and Sri Krishna, along with their associates Sri Lalita and Vishaka. E Krishna Karuna Sindho Dina Bandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostuti. O my dear Krishna, you are the friend of the distressed and the source of creation. You are the master of the gopis and the lover of Radharani. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye. I offer my respects to Radharani, whose bodily complexion is like molten gold, and who is the queen of Vrindavana. You are the daughter of King Vrishabhanu, and you are very dear to Lord Krishna. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanibhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord, who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhara Sri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Again, welcome everyone to this reading and discussion on Bhagavad Gita. This week, before we begin in the reading of the verses, we will read 2 more verses from what is called the Gita Mahatmya, glorification of the Bhagavad Gita. This is found in the Padma Purana, in a conversation between Lord Shiva and Parvati. Text number 3. Last week we read the first 2 texts. Mala nirmochanam pumsam jalasnanam dine dine sakrit gitam bhasi snanam samsara malanashanam. Human being must bathe every day in water to get rid of the dirt of the body. But bathing in the water of the Gita once is enough to get rid of the dirt of this samsara, cycle of birth and death. Text number 4. Gita sugita kartavya kimanye shastravistare yasvayam padmanabhasya mukhapadmad vinishrita. This Gita which has come out of the lotus-like face of the Lord, he who has the lotus in his navel, and which is so melodious, should be studied. There's no need to study any other scriptures in detail. Today we'll be reading from chapter number 10, text number 26. All synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Founder Acharya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Text number 26. Ashvataha sarva vrikshanam, Ashvataha sarva vrikshanam, Deva rishinam chanaradaha, Deva rishinam chanaradaha, Gandharvanam chitrarataha, Gandharvanam chitrarataha, Siddhanam kapilo munihi, Siddhanam kapilo munihi, Ashvataha, the banyan tree, Sarva vrikshanam, of all trees, Devarishinam, of all the sages amongst the demigods, Cha and Naradaha, Narada, Gandharvanam, the citizens of the Gandharva planet, Chitrarataha, Chitrarata, Siddhanam, of all those who are perfected, Kapila Munihi, Kapila Muni. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Of all trees I am the holy fig tree, and among sages and demigods I am Narada. Of the singers of the gods, Gandharvas, I am Chitrarata, and amongst perfected beings I am the sage Kapila. Purport. The fig tree Ashwatha is one of the most beautiful and highest trees, and people in India often worship it as one of their daily morning rituals. Amongst the demigods, they also worship Narada, who is considered the greatest devotee in the universe. Thus, he is the representation of Krishna as a devotee. The Gandharva planet is filled with entities who sing beautifully, and amongst them the best singer is Chitrarata. Amongst the perpetually living entities, Kapila is considered an incarnation of Krishna, and his philosophy is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Later on, another Kapila became famous, but his philosophy was atheistic. Thus there is a gulf of difference between them. Text number 27. Ucheshravashamashvanam, Ucheshravashamashvanam, Viddimam amritodbhavam, Viddimam amritodbhavam, Eravatam gajendranam, Eravatam gajendranam, Naranam chanaradipam, Naranam chanaradipam, Uchesravasam, Uchesrava, Ashvanam among horses, Viddi, no, Mam, me, Amrita udbhavam, produced from the churning of the ocean, Eravatam, Eravata, Gajendranam of elephants, Naranam among human beings, Cha and Naradipam the king. Translation. Of horses know me to be Ucheshrava, who rose out of the ocean, born of the elixir of immortality. Of lordly elephants am Airavata, and amongst men I am the monarch. Purport. The devotee demigods and the demons, asuras, one took a sea journey. On this journey, nectar and poison were produced, and Lord Shiva drank the poison. From the nectar were produced many entities, of which there was a horse named Ucheshrava. Another animal produced from the nectar was an elephant named Airavata. Because these two animals were produced from nectar, they have special significance, and they are representatives of Kṛṣṇa. Amongst the human beings, the king is the representative of Kṛṣṇa, because Kṛṣṇa is the maintainer of the universe, and the kings who are appointed on account of their godly qualifications are maintainers of their kingdoms. Kings like Maharaj Yudhishthir, Maharaj Parikshit, and Lord Rama were all highly righteous kings who always thought of the citizens' welfare. In Vedic literature, the king is considered to be the representative of God. In this age, however, with the corruption of the principles of religion, monarchy decayed and is now finally abolished. It is to be understood that in the past, however, people were more happy under righteous kings. Om ajnanatimirandasya jnananjana shalakaya chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Bhagavad Vandanam Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadatihi Visheshatah Adadana Danter Idam Yachi Punaha Punaha Srimaduru Papadam Bhoja Dhulishyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavato Smyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvatam Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Shat Karomishvam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Numerous times in various lectures and presentations, Srila Prabhupada recommended people to hear the Hari Katha, the message of Lord Hari, namely Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and the various Vedic Sanatan Shastras. Now, this is a very important point because we do know that in India especially, there is a class of men who are professional reciters of these various scriptures, namely Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. They specialize in very nice ritualistic ceremony, allegedly presenting the message of Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. But there is a warning that is given by Sanatan Goswami in the Hari Bhakti Vilas, that if one is not a Vaishnava and properly conducts himself as a Vaishnava, as a bona fide Vaishnava, then one should not hear Hari Katha from such person. The injunction is given in Sanskrit, Shravanam neva kartavyam sarpo chista yata payaha, that one should not hear from such person. Avaishnava mukudgirnam putam hari katamritam. It's interesting, the various Sanskrit words that are used, kata amritam, that the message of Lord Kṛṣṇa is just like transcendental nectar, very sweet nectar. But if one hears that message from a non-Vaishnava, from an Avaishnava, then sarpochistam yatapayaha, then that same message will be just like milk that has been touched by the lips of a serpent. Now, what will be the effect of milk touched by the lips of a serpent? It becomes poisonous. It may look like milk, it may be white, it may be liquid, but if you ingest that milk, there will not be good result. Similarly, if one hears the message of Srimad Bhagavatam, this Hari Katha, and message of Bhagavad Gita from non-Vaishnavas, then there can be disaster, especially if one hears from the impersonalist. Why did Prabhupada make a specific systematic program of practice of bhakti or devotional service in a specific way? Everything that Prabhupada designed for his society was following in the footsteps of the Goswamis, the 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, the teachings of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the teachings of the previous acharyas. So it's important because sometimes the tendency is to try to invent or manufacture new interpretation, new songs, new procedures, in all kinds of speculative ways. But this will not be helpful. Just like recently, one devotee sent me a YouTube of a group in India that has proposed that people should go in some shopping malls and do some so-called or alleged Samkirtan with a concocted mantra, with a mantra that no one has heard before, that Prabhupada did not give, that Srila Prabhupada did not authorize, with some kind of Bollywood dancing, with all kinds of costumes, thinking that this is going to spread Krishna consciousness. Interestingly, one devotee, who is part of this group, sent a very nice quote of a letter from Srila Prabhupada, to Sudama Maharaj in 1972 when devotees in America were doing a yoga village and a yoga roadshow. And Prabhupada stopped this procedure, this yoga village. Just focus on the method given by Lord Chaitanya. I'm paraphrasing here. Focus on Samkirtan, reading Bhagavad Gita. That is the standard given by the Acharya. There's no need to invent or manufacture new so-called methods of presenting Krishna consciousness. That letter is very, very instructive. I don't know if Venkat Bhatta Prabhu can find it. It's a letter to Sudama in 1972. You can put the word roadshow or yoga village. And Prabhupada did not approve of these new so-called procedures. As a matter of fact, these new procedures were criticized by Srila Prabhupada, that the devotees that will come of such programs will not stay because they will get the wrong idea. Now, this is very important because we saw, here we go. My dear Sudama, please accept my blessings. I beg to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated October 27, 1972, and have noted the contents carefully. So far the roadshow and this yoga village are concerned, these things should be stopped. Simply perform our kirtan. If we divert our attention in this way, the whole thing will gradually deteriorate. He is going far away. All these things are nonsense inventions. Such inventing spirit will ruin this movement. People may come to see, some will become devotees, but such devotees will not stay because they're attracted by some show and not by the real thing or spiritual life according to the standards of Lord Chaitanya. Our standard is to have kirtan start temples. What is this road show in Yoga Village? It will be another hippie edition. Gradually, the Krishna consciousness idea will evaporate. Another change, every day another change. Stop all this. Simply have kirtan, nothing else. Don't manufacture ideas. So we get an idea here of that Srila Prabhupada did not approve of these new so-called methods of attracting the public. We practically experience, and I'm sure Vishwakarma knows very well what I'm talking about, and other devotees such as our good friend in Hawaii, Janaspriya, Dharma Bhavana, that during the manifested presence of Srila Prabhupada, devotees sometimes invented different ways of doing kirtan. And Prabhupada several times would send his secretary or personal servant to request them to stop these kinds of kirtan, concocted kirtans. Prabhupada kept things simple and pure. But now it's like a proliferation of who's going to outdo one another with various songs, various mantras, various procedure, various gypsy and hippie dancing. And gradually, as Prabhupada predicted, the original Krishna conscious idea will be lost. And this is the danger of inventing. In one letter in 1972, one conversation, that we have seen how a great institution was spoiled by whimsical ways, people inventing. It's interesting that as part of these classes, various devotees circulate various comments or contact us, or many have contacted me, and complain about some of our various comments about various members of Srila Prabhupada's institution. That we tend to be too heavy, that sometimes we tend to be too angry, that we should not criticize, that this is not appropriate, that we should just focus on the nectar. Well, what if I was to give you a glass of camel milk or goat milk and tell you that this is just as good as cow milk. It's white, it's liquid, there's no harm in drinking it. Or buffalo milk. In India, you can buy buffalo milk, but it will not have the same effect on your health as cow milk. As a matter of fact, some physicians say it's detrimental. So similarly, the reason why these things are brought up is to warn the devotees, to warn various practitioners of Krishna consciousness not to be misled by people who have this inventing spirit, this whimsical spirit, this concocting ideas. People may say, well, what's the difference? They're chanting the name of Radha or chanting the name of Krishna. Well, what's the difference if you take goat milk, camel milk, or cow milk? If you're a little intelligent, you'll understand the difference. It's not the same because it is not authorized by the Acharya. It is not given by the Acharya. Very early on in 1967, when Prabhupada went back to India for various health reasons, some devotees expressed that what happens if one of your godbrothers were to give some instruction. And Prabhupada was very concerned about different instructions which may be different than what he was given. Why was Prabhupada concerned? Because Prabhupada was actually empowered, according to time, place, and circumstances, to give the perfect practice, rules and regulations and methods and ways and means of Krishna consciousness. He was empowered by his Guru Maharaj. He was empowered by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself. And as such, when we deal with Srila Prabhupada and his various methods, we should remember that. He was just another sadhu or another guru who came at the right place and right time. Yes, that is true. But he was much more than that. This is very important. For example, we read in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, text 14 and 15, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila, chapter 22, texts 14 and 15, Srila Prabhupada describes the exalted position of the eternally liberated associates of Krishna. Sometimes an ever-liberated personal associate of the Supreme Personality of Godhead descends into this universe just as the Lord descends. Although working for the liberation of conditioned souls, the messenger of the Supreme Lord remains untouched by the material energy. Generally, ever-liberated personalities live in the spiritual world as associates of Lord Krishna, and they are known as Krishna Parishada, associates of the Lord. Their only business is enjoying Lord Krishna's company, and even though such eternally liberated persons come within this material world to serve the Lord's purpose, they enjoyed Lord Krishna's company without stoppage. The ever-liberated person who works on Krishna's behalf enjoys Lord Krishna's company through his engagement. The ever-conditioned soul provoked by lusty desires to enjoy the material world is subjected to transmigrate from one body to another. Sometimes he's elevated to higher planetary systems, and sometimes he's degraded to hellish planets and subjected to the tribulations of the external energy. So this is a very important point, that when we deal with someone like Srila Prabhupada, a Nitya Siddha Parishada, an eternally liberated soul, eternal associate of Krishna, who has come from Goloka Vrindavan, from Vaikuntha, to spread this movement to the Western countries. We should never think that this person is just another guru who came at the right time, right place, Just like in some biographies of Prabhupada, they introduce Prabhupada. Or we invite the reader to read the very human story of Bhaktivedanta. Oh, really? But the Bhagavatam tells us that it is forbidden to think of the spiritual master, the empowered acharya, as a regular human. So this is very important for devotees and aspiring devotees. Do not be misled by false propaganda. Do not be misled by persons pretending that they have the institutional truth, that they have understood. Of course, what to expect from those who claim that they have seen the truth. Thank you. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Very deep insights into these matters concerning the dissemination of truth through the disciplic succession without adulteration. And I wanted to refer back to the verse today and the purport, where Prabhupada explains about the qualifications of a leader. And he's relating here specifically to the kings of the past. Maharaj Yudhisthira, Maharaj Parikshit, and Lord Rama were all highly righteous kings who always thought of the citizens' welfare. In Vedic literature, the king is considered to be the representative of God. In this age, however, with the corruption of the principles of religion, monarchy decayed and is now finally abolished. It is to be understood that in the past, however, Prabhupada says, people were more happy under righteous kings. So this is the qualification for leadership. You have to be fixed up in spiritual service to the pure devotee and to Kṛṣṇa. And in the case, as you were talking, Yashodanandana Prabhu, about the ISKCON group, these so-called modern-day leaders of this organization are not acting in a righteous manner, because their whole business is to change everything, as you mentioned. And Prabhupada gave that wonderful letter in which he's telling people, what is it that you're doing introducing this yogic village and these other mental concoctions to spread Krishna consciousness? Just simply follow the instructions that I've given to you without change. This change disease is rampant. Now, in the modern society, we have leadership. Yes, we have leadership in democracy. Actually, democracy, Prabhupada called it demon crazy. The blind leading the blind. People that have no idea of what a leader should be are voting in so-called leaders who are not qualified to take that responsibility and create a happy environment. So this is the Kali Yuga, all pervasive confusion. Yashodanandana Prabhu, you know this, Prabhupada said, after my departure, there will be chaos. Now there's chaos in the material world, yes, and in the spiritual mission that he started, complete chaos. Absolutely confused people following so-called leaders that are misleading them. Or someone would say, like you said, oh, well, you're being so... We're not being harsh. We're telling the truth. Truth is the issue. Tatvavit. What is the truth of the disciplic succession coming from Lord Kṛṣṇa to Srila Prabhupada in 2024? It is the mercy of the pure devotee only that allows the disciple to understand the truth of who the spiritual master is and who Kṛṣṇa is. It is not artificial, manufactured, concocted, mundane mental speculation by a few people who are interested only in profit, adoration, and distinction. This is the unfortunate state of affairs of a glorious movement that has been destroyed by these people. Keith Ham, Hridayananda, Jayatirtha, and the list goes on and on and on and on. Oh, well, you're so angry. You misunderstand if you think you're a fault finder that we're mad. We're not mad. We're trying to stress this point so that there's no confusion. We are not angry. We're not. We're speaking because this is a matter of necessity for people to understand these very fundamental points about what is Kṛṣṇa consciousness and how to follow it properly. How do we know? Well, we've been personally trained by Srila Prabhupada. We have a history of that. And we're constantly reading and studying and serving in a particular way in order to establish these principles for other people's benefit. Otherwise, we're comfortable. We don't need to do this. I wanted to read a section from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Very, very profound purport that I'm reading forward with the Ancha Lila. It's ecstatic, by the way. And I encourage everyone to constantly read this great work that Prabhupada created for us, which he took shelter of, and his guru, Bhaktisiddhanta, took shelter of in their elder years. And this is from Ancha Lila, chapter 5, text number 88. Ancha Lila, chapter 5, text 88. Sri Chaitanya Lila A. Amritera Sindhu, Trigat Basate Pade Yara Eka Bindu. The activities of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are just like an ocean of nectar. Even a drop of this ocean can inundate all the three worlds. Interesting. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. And here, listen very carefully to this, Prabhus. To inundate the three worlds with nectar is the purpose of the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. How this could be possible was exhibited by Srila Raghunath Goswami and later by Thakur Narottam Das and Shyamananda Goswami, who all represented, every word is key here, the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now the same mercy is overflooding the entire world through the Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement, through the agency of Srila Prabhupada, not by anyone else. The present Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement is non-different from the pastimes performed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu when he was personally present. For the same principles are being followed and the same actions performed without fail. So, very important message from Prabhupada in this purport. The Kṛṣṇa consciousness movement is non-different from the pastimes performed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But if it's changed in any way, this becomes adulterated, just like urine in milk. Yashodanandana, Prabhu, please, if you could further comment.
As part of these classes here, we've often discussed various statements that have been made by Srila Prabhupada in his books regarding personal physical association with the spiritual master. And Prabhupada has given a lot of warnings on many, many different issues. Because many times we get the question, well, didn't Prabhupada say something about this? Didn't Prabhupada caution his devotees? Didn't Srila Prabhupada warn the leaders or the regular devotees in his books or letters or instructions about potential problem that would happen in his movement after he would depart? So it's an interesting conversation in Srila Prabhupada's room on October 26, 1977. It's a Prabhupada room conversation on October 26, 1977. And it's a very ominous warning. There's a devotee who says, we have to appraise that if your divine grace leaves us, what will be the result both to ISKCON society, to each of these disciples individually, and to the entire planet? Srila Prabhupada, that I'm thinking, that such a big society, the aims and objects may be dismantled. I am thinking from that vision. Now, that's a very, very heavy warning that Prabhupada is given here. Prabhupada was concerned, given the tendency of many of his young disciples to behave in whimsical ways. We have to be very, very careful. In another conversation, a room conversation in New Mayapur in Paris, France, on August 2nd, 1976, room conversation in Paris, France, on August 2nd, 1976, Srila Prabhupada. Therefore, my Guru Maharaj used to say, this is not a place for a gentleman. Formerly, therefore, they used to go away from the society, go in the forest to give up this bad association, live alone. Hari sorry. Practically speaking, that's what we've done. By your establishing these temples, it's given us some place to go where we can get out of Kali Yuga. Srila Prabhupada, therefore, our temple should be very carefully managed. It may not become again another pandemonium. Devotee, pandemonium? Devotee says that's in a dictionary. Devotee, place of demons. Srila Prabhupada, Kṛṣṇa has given us many nice places. People can live very comfortably. There will be no scarcity. Cultivate Kṛṣṇa consciousness very seriously. That is wanted. Therefore, in this old age, I'm struggling so much to see that things are going on nicely. So far I have seen it is going on nice, but maybe the management is lacking. It may be the Maya is very strong, so be careful. All of you are all students and try to organize more and more solidly. The children should be taken. You can give lectures to the mothers that children should be taken care of. They are future hopes. Child is the father of man. They say that we escape. What we are escaping? We've got all type of social society. There is Grihastha, there is Sannyasi, there is Brahmachari. Whichever position is suitable, you accept and keep yourself sincere. That's all. Unnatural, there is nothing. Is there anything unnatural? And if they think that we are prohibiting this meat eating, this is unnatural. That we cannot. That is unnatural. That is natural. So Prabhupada has given many different kind of warnings of how to conduct the activities in his movement, and people can take advantage of these instructions and progress very nicely. Hare Kṛṣṇa.
Yes, we have Nilesh Dalal here from Florida, who's attending regularly these programs, and thank you for your participation. We're interested in hearing your comments and your questions, my friend.
Hare Kṛṣṇa, Prabhuji. Hare Kṛṣṇa. Two questions I have. One is, you mentioned about adoration, cheap adoration, labha, And what we forget is Kutinati. Kutinati is basically being what you call politically correct or trying to compromise. And Prabhupada always warned us about against that. So if we are going to be frank, we're going to be open, we're going to be clear, we got to give it as it is, the way things are. And if it's criticizing others, so be it, because we are not criticizing others for our own benefit. We are criticizing because they have usurped Srila Prabhupada's position. So we should stop being diplomatic. We need to give it the way it is and stick to the purity. That's number one. And I would like Yashodanandan Prabhu to also answer is, recently there was a huge get together with the Prime Minister of India, and they released some stamps and some coins commemorating Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati's appearance day. And in that video, if you see, there are so many sannyasis, so many so-called gurus. Who are these people and where did they come from?
Well, most of these people are from the Gaudiya Math and the various branches of various groups or whatever splinter groups they have. Now, again, we've said on this program before, it is not our business to condemn or criticize any follower or student or disciple of His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. What we are concerned about is Srila Prabhupada's statements with regards to how the institution of His Divine Grace, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, was basically divided and adversely affected after 1937, the year of his departure. And the reason Prabhupada said that, because he did not want the same thing to happen to his movement. I was personally present in Vrindavan in Prabhupada's room in 1977 at one point where Prabhupada requested two senior disciples to come very near to his bed, and he told them, please do not turn my institution like the Gaudiya Math or the Catholic Church. And most devotees are familiar with Prabhupada's statements in the Adi Lila of Chaitanya Charitamrita in chapter 12, where Prabhupada explains the problems of how it got divided. Now, problems can be remedied, problems can be rectified, but it requires first acknowledging what the problem was. And that is something that many persons have difficulty with. Now, we're all for the glorification of a pure devotee like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, and it's very auspicious that the government has done that recognition. It's very wonderful that they're doing that. We appreciate that. As far as their followers, what they do, I don't know all the different philosophical ramifications of what they say, but we do know what Prabhupada says about that different groups and how they became divided, how a great institution was spoiled on account of whimsical ways, and so many different descriptions by our Srila Prabhupada about what to avoid. That we know. So for now, that is what I'm going to say.
Let's move forward with Dharma Bhavana in Dallas, Texas. Maybe you can make a few comments. Dharma Bhavana.
Okay, yeah, I'm coming. Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you.
Sorry,
yeah, I was just following up on today's class. We talked a lot about the change disease and generally how an offense is made amongst devotees when somebody speaks something untruthful. Now, I was just studying Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 9, Text 23. And I thought I'd just read from here. Is that okay?
Of course.
Please go ahead, please.
The Lord continued, sometime in the future, your brother Uttama will go hunting in the forest, and while absorbed in hunting, he will be killed. Your stepmother Saruchi, being maddened upon the death of her son, will go to the forest, will go to search him out in the forest, but she will be devoured by a forest fire. Report. Dhruv Maharaj came to the forest to search out the Supreme Personality of Godhead with a revenging spirit against his stepmother. His stepmother had insulted Dhruva, who is not an ordinary person, but a great Vaishnava. An offense of the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is the greatest offense in this world. Because of having insulted Dhruva Maharaj, Suruchi would become mad upon the death of her son. It would enter a forest fire, and thus her life would be ended. This was specifically mentioned by the Lord to Dhruva because he was determined for revenge against her. From this, we should take the lesson that we should never try to insult a Vaishnava. Not only should we not insult a Vaishnava, but we should not insult anyone unnecessarily. When Suruchi insulted Dhruva Maharaj, he was just a child. She, of course, did not know that Dhruva was a great recognized Vaishnava, and so her offense was committed unknowingly. When one serves a Vaishnava unknowingly, one still gets a good result. And if one unknowingly insults a Vaishnava, one suffers a bad result. A Vaishnava is especially favored by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Pleasing him or displeasing him directly affects the pleasure and displeasure of the Supreme Lord. So I'm reading this not exactly, it's kind of complementary to our class today, but it's also something I've been studying on my own. So it's just something that kind of came up, and I thought I'd just read it. It's kind of a little bit about today's class and a little bit different. So sorry. Haribo.
Thank you very much. Yes. And when we speak about the offenses that are committed against Srila Prabhupada by our God brothers, it is not to criticize them, it's to clarify the truth of the matter.
Mm.
Facts and fault finding are two different things. In other words, if you say to someone that this happened and it's proven to have happened, like say for the example, in Mayapur for years and years, there was a devotee there, I never met him, Bhakti Vidyapurna. Now, he committed some offenses, many of them, and they're recorded by hundreds of people. They've been reported to their committees and other leadership groups in that organization. Now, finally, after 15 years, he was removed from his position. Is that a criticism? That's a clarification of what the reality was. This is not criticism. This is fact-finding. Now look what's happened to him, Dharma Bhavana. He's gone. Where is he gone? What happened to him? Recently, in America here and Canada, there were some, how can I say, hockey players who are now being charged with sexual assault 6 years ago. And now their careers are ruined. Now they're being brought before the court here in London, Ontario. So what happened to Vidyapurna after he committed multiple assaults against children and women and the disciplic succession? Zero. He's disappeared. Is that a criticism? No, that's something that we should understand is a reality. These things are going on and they're misleading people, and they're destroying the disciplic succession that was started by Srila Prabhupada in his movement and meant to be maintained for thousands of years. And within 50 years, it's gone completely down the drain. Don't think it's any less than that, Prabhus. If you think that we're just saying this because we're trying to criticize people, no, we're not interested in criticizing. We are interested in explaining the reality based on our own personal experience and the things that we're hearing from Srila Prabhupada in his books, in his tapes, and in his letters. We're planning to write a magazine now, a new magazine that'll give a clarification of this whole bogus guru system that was instituted by the ISKCON group and has destroyed this disciplic succession because of their deviant behavior. we're going to have, Nilesh has got his hand up. Prabhu, please, if you'd like to make a further comment.
Yes, Prabhuji. You know, this quote of what you call not criticizing a Vaishnava constantly comes up. It would be a good thing to revisit who do we call a Vaishnava?
Yeah.
Remember the distinction between a pure devotee of the Lord and a Kanishta Adhikari or even a Madhyama Adhikari who has a tendency to fall down. And when a criticism, a constructive criticism is given, it is for their own benefit so that they don't do further aparadh in their journey towards realization. So I would like to know from both from you and Yashodananda Prabhu, what is the real definition of a Vaishnava? Can we call a Vaishnava who does not follow his Guru Maharaj's instructions?
I think, Yashoda, if you don't mind, maybe Paranjana, our godbrother, could maybe answer the question. Paranjana, are you still online with us? Tim Lee, are you here? Is he here? I don't know. I'm sorry if he's not. Jonas Priya in Hawaii, maybe you could comment. Are you still online with us?
Hare Krishna, Jai Srila Prabhupada, please accept my humble obeisances.
Yes.
Yeah, a real devotee is one who follows the instruction of Guru. So if anybody is not following the instruction of Prabhupada, then that automatically he's putting himself in a very dangerous position. Why? Because Maya, as soon as we give Maya an inch, Maya will take a mile. So we have to be very careful to strictly follow the instructions of the pure devotee. And even if we're failing at the attempt, as long as we're trying to the best of our ability, then Prabhupada will be guiding us, and we could consider ourselves a disciple. As soon as one breaks the contract with the spiritual master by disobeying his order, that immediately puts one on the wrong position. So if somebody's on this position, then it is our duty to at least let him know, hey, look, you're not doing the right thing. Think about it. Examine yourself. So we don't try to criticize or put anybody down. We're simply trying to tell people, this is what Prabhupada taught us. He said, you have to obey the order of the spiritual master. And he said, I done that, and my spiritual master is giving me everything I need to carry on my preaching work. So if we want to be successful in our preaching, then we simply repeat Bhagavad Gita as it is, not Bhagavad Gita as I like it. And this will be a great success for everybody. Why? Because we're not putting any poison in the milk. We're not concocting any new system, just simply to attract masses of people, like we were talking about traveling roadshow. And Prabhupada heard this and he said, yes, many people might come, but they won't stay. Why? Because they're being attracted by the wrong reason. They think they're going to a party to have a good time. And this is not Prabhupada's movement. Prabhupada's movement is very, very serious. So only somebody that is seriously trying to get ahead in his spiritual life will hang in there, regardless of whatever happens. Look at us, 50 plus years, we're still here. And we push in as much as we can. And that's the success of our life. If we die trying to push Prabhupada's movement as he taught us everything, then we will be successful, and Krishna and Guru will be pleased. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. I see Yashoda Nandana Prabhu. We have is it Will or William has his hand up. William, do you have a question or comment? Check your microphone.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we do, sir. Haribol.
Sorry about that. I didn't, let me start my video. I'm sorry. This is my first time here. didn't think that I had my hand up. I was thinking something I will ask. This is my
You
first time.
got your hand up. Yeah. That's
Sorry
okay.
about that.
You
Uh,
don't have to feel on the spot, by the way.
no, I was wondering something. So
Yes.
this is my first time here.
Okay.
Um, and I learned about the meeting through, I found the original books of Prabhupada online, on a website, and I purchased those. I
Yeah.
first learned about ISKCON 20 years ago, 23 years ago, through a group of devotees that were here in Kentucky. And then I went to programs at the Mataji Ashram in Columbus, Ohio, and stayed there for retreats at Jamashtami after some of the brahmacharis came there and stuff. And went to New Vrindavan several times for retreat, more than a handful of times. And I
Wow.
think, they say once you get in Krishna's net, you can't get out, so I never took initiation. I went out and I feel
Okay.
called back to Krishna again. But, in the meanwhile, I've learned about all this controversy that I wasn't aware of. And some
Yes.
of the people that I was directly exposed to, and I don't know how true what is what, and I won't go through all the details, but it was scary to me.
Yeah.
And I don't, because our spiritual welfare is very important. And
Yeah.
if you get caught up in the wrong thing, the energy from that can harm you, if you're
Yes.
misled spiritually. But I also heard, in the past that if the guru falls down, it doesn't affect the disciple. But one of the things so how do we, I guess it's important, like we understand the thing that concerns me most is, and I don't know enough about it to talk about it, but the Ritvik dispute, that Prabhupada would be the Diksha guru. And that's what I always heard. And I understand that that's not what's going on. People are accepting these gurus, self-appointed gurus but if we focus on that, or if I focus on that instead of immersing myself,
Hmm.
I guess, and the point where I'm at, and I guess I'm looking for directions. If I focus on the negative that they're doing, that takes away from the time I can give into the true teachings of
Yeah.
Prabhupada and picking up japa. So I want to do that. I want to be immersed in the correct teachings, but where do you get the satsang? Because now I feel like I don't want to go back to the temples that I went to before, because I don't want to get entangled, or, and I don't want to sit in judgment of other people either, because as some of the people mentioned here, it's a very dangerous position. So how do we get satsang? How do we not focus on, some of the stuff is actually just horrifying that I've read. It's unbelievable, but how do we not focus on that? And where do we find groups of Vaishnavas that are truly wanting to follow what Prabhupada taught, without giving our personal energy and time to,
Okay. Got it.
yeah.
Got it. Well, we have the Prabhupada Disciples Association, which is posting on the social media. So you can go there and get all kinds of information about Prabhupada's mission and the glories of his work. And we have our classes here, which are 3 times a week to get sadhu sangha. Association with bona fide disciples. We have a large group of Prabhupada disciples that participate in the class, old and new ones. And we have a YouTube channel where we have over 250 classes approximately right now on these subjects as we read through the books. You remember, the class is focused on the Bhagavad Gita as it is on Saturday mornings, Srimad Bhagavatam on Sunday, and on Wednesday, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that's 3 classes a week, 4.5 hours, 1.5 hours each class. So you can come to those classes and enjoy that. You can chant your rounds on your own. No, that's what you do anyway. And you can have Prabhupada play You can play Prabhupada's japa to accompany you in your chanting. That's what we all do, most of us. I do every day. The chanting is going on steady, japa at the ashram here. So you do the same thing. Make your house Kṛṣṇa conscious by bringing this vibration in. And as I mentioned, if you were at the beginning of the class, you can even listen to Prabhupada's lectures that he was recording back in 1966 in February. That there's a whole huge collection of Prabhupada Vani, his sound vibration incarnation, that you can take advantage of by the grace of modern technology. In other words, you never had the association personally of Srila Prabhupada when he was with us in his manifested presence, but you can absorb yourself when you have time. Every one of us has to work and have all kinds of duties and responsibilities in order to survive in this modern world. But at the same time, you know how to use your time management to be engaged personally in the process of Shravanam Kirtanam, hearing the lectures, researching Prabhupada's information online, association with the Prabhupada Disciples Association, with the Hare Krishna Society that we formed. And this is all, Prabhu, specifically to answer the question you have. What do I do? There's lots you can do. Just do it. Don't worry about that. If you were at the beginning of the class, I was saying exactly what you just said. If you associate with these problems all the time, if you go associate with these ISKCON people, if you go listen to their so-called guru system, you'll become contaminated by them. So don't bother. We don't. We recommend that you don't. We'll finish up. Yashodanandana, please, if you could finish up the comments for today.
Yeah, I just want to read from a section of Srimad Bhagavatam relating to this point that was raised by Dr. Nilesh Prabhu.
Yeah.
This is from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 29, Text 17.
Yeah.
Explanation of Devotional Service by Lord Kapila, Canto 3, Chapter 29, Text 17. In Bhagavad Gita, there is reference to Bodhayanta Parasparam, discussing amongst themselves. Generally, pure devotees utilize their valuable time in chanting and discussing various activities of Lord Krishna or Lord Chaitanya amongst themselves. There are innumerable books such as the Puranas, Mahabharata, Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, and Upanishads, which contain countless subjects for discussion amongst two devotees or more. Friendship should be cemented between persons with mutual interest and understanding. Such persons are said to be svajati, of the same caste. The devotee should avoid a person whose character is not fixed in the standard understanding, even though he may be a Vaishnava or a devotee of Krishna. If his character is not correctly representative, then he should be avoided. One should steadily control the senses and the mind and strictly follow the rules and regulations, and he should make friendship with persons of the same standard. So I believe that Prabhupada is very clear to basically eliminate any confusion here. Hare Krishna.
Haribol, Haribol, Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. And the ecstatic association that we share with each other on the internet, on these Zoom meetings and other facilities that are provided through modern technology. So let's see what Will's asking here. Venkat, what is he asking? I missed it, I think. Will you please tell me the name of the YouTube and Facebook groups which you mentioned? Also, how can we properly receive initiation according to Prabhupada's wishes? That topic, you can either get a hold of us and we can discuss it offline. We will be presenting this question that you have, a very good question, online on special sessions that we're producing. And the YouTube is, I'll just say the YouTube, Vinkat Bhatta, could you put it? Yeah, thank you. There are the list. It's the Hare Krishna Society official website. And you can join our mailing list. So copy that out, Prabhu, please. And this way you can be linked up. No big deal. You've got lots of time. There's 168 hours in the week. So break down your schedule accordingly and take up the process of yoga, which is personal, bhakti yoga, which is a personal discipline, and follow it strictly. And if you need association, we're here for you with the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, as the alternative to ISKCON. Yes, the alternative to the deviant society that has come about as a result of illicit manufactured guruships. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. We'll move forward now with the tomorrow morning Srimad Bhagavatam class at 10 a.m. So please join in then. And we'll move forward with the Kirtan now. All glories to the Sankirtan movement.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thanks everybody for participating. Respectful obeisances to all the Vaishnavas. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. See you all tomorrow morning.